and it's all on here. This one is going to certainly be exciting. Jared Horn inherits the championship lead over SJ and Alex, with Carl in 4th place. The man on pole position, the number 28, Carl Hooper, desperate to try and get some points in this one. He's had 2 non-points finishes so far in this championship. He's won the other 2 races he's been in, so certainly going to be one to watch. SJ Cavell, he'll go well in the wet as well. He's on the Highway Tyres machine, so shout out to Highway Tyres, working overtime. He's got his machine over there, so these guys will be frantically trying to find wets, dries, and get through this meeting. The meeting's been declared wet, so what that means is now the tyre allocations are null and void, and you can use any sort of tyres you want for the rest of the meeting. So these guys normally had to do the full round on one set of tyres. That's now going to be all shaken up with the wet meeting declared, and more drama to unfold here at NZSBK. We're round 2. The New Zealand Superbike Championships. We're about to get underway, day 2, and the second race of the weekend for Pro Twins, thanks to King Street Motors. The lights have come on and they're out and we're away, and SJ Cavell gets the pick of the starts off the front row. We've got Jared Horn around the outside, and also Vaughan Main, a good start off the second row. So we're going through this one, turn 1 and 2, flying at the moment. Everyone seems to get away pretty cleanly, but look at the spray coming up, so definitely some wet track out there.
Yeah, there we go. In fact, round as we sweep for turn number 4 in the exit. Got a lot of spectators go over and watch that part of the track. There'll be a few departures off the tar seal based on these conditions, one might expect, but hopefully not to be the case. And there we go, a bit of a freight train run for the first 5, maybe 6, and then quite a gap back to 7 as we look out. Really a bit of a pair, then a slight gap, then a trio, and then look at the water spray pumping it out there. Litres by the gallon. It's almost, they are flying out there. So good to see. And then they're going to go into that first turn. This is where that new tar seal's going to play a premium part of it, because it will be nice and tacky up there for the guys at this point. In fact, for that rain part, probably one of the better parts of the track as they go into the blind and through McKissick, and then they're ready to come out and come around the hairpin for the first time. And a great start there, and particularly for those top 5, Brad.
Yeah, SJ Cavell's got the hardest job in the race. He's got to lead them out, find out just how fast everyone can go. The guys in behind just happy to follow at the moment. They're out of the hairpin nicely and ready to run into the bus stop. Definitely some spray coming up, so you can tell this track is still pretty wet, but SJ Cavell leads Carl Hooper, then go back to Jared Horn, and Alex Butts with Vaughan Main in there ahead of that little battle there. We've got plenty of action here. Chris Burt's got a pretty good start as well, so he's up there. It'll be interesting to see who's the Rainmaster. We've got definitely some Rainmasters in the other big classes, but we haven't seen a Pro Twin race in the rain for a long time, so this will be interesting. It's SJ Cavell doing the heavy lifting on the Eastbound Engineering, CD Vandermeer Builders Highway Tyres machine. Carl Hooper happy just to sit in behind at the moment, but this one here, 10 lapper, and we've only done one of them, so anyone's at the moment. We've got Jared Horn looking really racy there in 3rd place. Alex Button and Vaughan Main making this a genuine 5-way train with this one here going around McKissick. It's recently been resurfaced in the last couple of years, so there's definitely plenty of grip out there, and this one going to unfold into a beauty. We've just done 1.5 laps of the 10-lap King Street Motors Pro Twin race, and it's SJ Cavell still in command.
Well, interesting that people like Nick Southwood and Angus Boyd, experienced riders in this class, further back. No Christopher, unsure as to what's happened to Chris. Maybe he's opted, maybe he didn't have a tyre choice and opted out of it. I think we've got Sam Davidson along with Al Weir. I think a couple of those non-starters in the conditions, maybe they just sat back in the pits and say, well, I know it's going to clear and they're not going to worry about it. They don't put their bike or their body or their checkbook on the line, but they're having a whole different room of wheels and tyres to suit these changing conditions, because definitely the sun is out. We can feel it streaming here in the commentary box at the moment, so it's going to warm up like an oven for us, but at the moment the sun is all required out there on the track, and we'll still have the puddles on the peripheral of it, but the drying crest of the line will be getting better and better. Less water spray coming up this time, and there's an awesome foursome that have cracked out this top group. Look for a change coming up, slipstream there in the 3rd place, moving up. Third place could be a change there. In fact, so it's 4th to 3rd, and really farming. In fact, maybe even to go into John Joe Steele and get right up into 2nd place. Oh, that is incredible. That's 4th place to 2nd. How good was that as they go along the straight? That is big time racing, and that I think could be Jared Horn, Brad, on the comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jared, he got passed by Alex Butson with a good move, and might have just given him a bit of a wake up and said, hey, hang on, I'm not into this. I'm going to try and have a go at this one. So he got a 2-for-1 special up the back straight and finds himself in 2nd place. SJ still in command of this one, and he's about a 5 bike length advantage. advantage as they head into the hairpin. But the man on the move at the moment, Jared Horn, in second place on the KIP Racing Machine. He's got a couple of moves done there. We've got Carl Hooper third place. Alex Butson looks very racy in the rain, so this is going to be awesome. Vaughan May not out of touch with this one as well. We've also got these guys competing for their own in-house trophies as well. Some great camaraderie and more of the family action. We've got Jared Horn now into the lead of this one, so he's put the hammer down. He realises there's a bit more grip there than these boys out the front realise. I'm going to try and lead this one, and he now on the 74 machine after taking a race 1 victory has shown a clean set of heels. He's going to run off with this one.
All right, also a shout out to KIP Racing, which is one of the key race teams behind in our Pro Twin racing, so thanks to KIP, and also the apologies over the I suppose you'd say wrong direction we led with comments that were made last weekend with regards to engines on these bikes, and it was completely on the fact that just because a bike looked like another bike, we made an opportunity that could be. We were wrong, and certainly extending an apology for that, but more importantly for KIP getting the glory on the track and off the track that they thoroughly deserve. So back to our Pro Twin racing, and Brad, absolute contrast. When you see a wet track, you'd wonder why it's wet, because we've got blue sky, that clouds lifting high. This is a beautiful backdrop. Back again to see the beautiful Southern Alps in the background here, and the glistening of the sun on the wet track, and those beautifully polished bikes coming towards us is a spectacular sight, but there's still water on the track, and that's probably a concern for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the crowd have got sunglasses on, so it's all on here. Jared Horn now leads Carl Hooper. So Carl Hooper has got ahead of SJ Cavell, and now he's going to try and run with Jared, because Jared's certainly the fastest man out on track at the moment. SJ still there in third place. Alex Butson putting some pressure on in fourth place as well. We've got Vaughan May there in fifth. Chris Burt is the one in about sixth place, and then we've got a bit of a gap back to the rest of our competitors. So checking out this one here, Jared Horn and Carl Hooper now coming out onto the back straight, and a genuine two-way fight, because Carl Hooper's got right on the back wheel. We might even see a little move. He's going to pull up alongside and have a look into the hard and fast braking turn 4 John Jones steel left-hander, and it's going to be a change for the lead if Carl Hooper can get that thing stopped. I think he has, and it's also brought SJ and Alex into the mix as well. So now we've got the four-way tussle. It's going to be all on. We're nearly at half race distance, 5.5 laps still to go, and this one here, there's any one of these four that can win this race from here.
All right, 3 of those 4 have all had a sneak nose in their front at some stage during the race to lead it, but the outstanding performance coming from Jared Horn, and I'm wondering whether it's tyres. I'm wondering whether he did not have those significant wet tyres. He may have just had an intermediate, and that's why, as the track has improved immensely in the time they've been out on the race, he's just found his grip better and better, and has made his move. He's gone 4, he went 3, he went 2, and he's gone 1, and look at that, already starting to pull out a buffer, and he'll be right on that best racing line on the highest crest of the tar seal, so that he can get the dry one, and he's pulling his way out in front and maybe starting to show the others up in these drying conditions. Brad, this is such a contrast. The start of the race till the end of the race will seem like they're extremes. One will seem like it's on the equator, the other will seem like it's Antarctica in comparison, temperature, track-wise, weather-wise, and more importantly, moisture-wise on the track, as we enjoy the sun here in Timaru. And they're coming in for some of the lappers. Some of the lappers just going along that back straight. Maybe they're the opposite. Maybe their tyres have gone already, unsure of whatever. They look like they've hit the handbrake in comparison to that awesome foursome. They have bolted out there. King Street Motors, Timaru, great racing. Pro Twins love this class, have done for a long time. Cool to watch these very similar bikes. Most of them are Suzuki's. There's the odd Yamaha or Ducati in there that are eligible as a Pro Twin bike, but these twin cylinders, they sound beautiful, they race beautiful, they're a cool size for riders alike, and they're a great in-between class for those that are ready to break into the Super Sport League of the 600s or super bikes, but have come through, as we saw like last year with Zach Fuller, having come already out of Gixxer. So great intermediary class in our national championship. Pro Twins, and still going mad at it, Brad.
Yeah, yes, Carl Hooper, he was quicker than anyone on the racetrack last time around. He's certainly trying to just put a little bit of a squeeze on. SJ's got himself back in a second place, so it's all on here. Jared Horn now under pressure from Alex Butson, so you can throw a tea towel over the top 4 at the moment, and there's still going to be 4 laps to go. That time around, SJ Cavell the fastest on track, so that's the fastest lap of the race. We've got a drying track and some frantic pace, so 1:16s when this drying track, they're going to get quicker and quicker. And this one here, brilliant, as we've got the King Street Motors 10-lap Pro Twin race. We've done 6 of them, we've got 4 to go. Carl Hooper leads SJ Cavell, Jared Horn and Alex Butson, but Alex not out of touch with the lead. Is any one of those 4 at the moment? Chris Burt and Vaughan May. Now that's swapped around, so Chris Burt now up into 5th place. We've got Vaughan down into 6th, Josh Double and Angus Boyd with Nick Southerwood there in 9th place. Non-start for Christopher Fiore, Al Weir and Sam Davison. Maybe just didn't have a set of wets with them for the weekend. we're looking at the weather forecast. I wouldn't have put them in the van either. So it's all definitely plenty to think about. All tactical stuff at the moment. What this one here. Just about 3.5 laps to go, and you cannot pick a winner, but Carl Hooper certainly the man who's got the bit between the teeth. He's out in front ahead of SJ, and then we go to a brilliant battle for 3rd and 4th. So Alex Butson on his first podium yesterday. He'll be very, very excited to try and repeat the dose here. Jared Horn, our championship leader. He's sitting there in 3rd place, but still capable of winning this race. As we take off another lap, we've got 3 laps to go, 7 down, and it's SJ Cavell quicker again. The first man into the 115s. He's a 115.9 and got that gap down to 0.4. So SJ's coming on the Eastbelt Engineering Diamond Design Highway Tyres machine. Flying at the moment. Check out this one here, SJ Cavell. He's also an MNZ board member, so it's great to have our MNZ board members out on track, and he's flying at the moment. The 2 out in front now, they unfortunately had a DNF, both crashed out of race number 1, so they'll be desperate to try and get as many points as they can. We see the spray coming off the back tyres as they brake hard into turn number 4, and definitely look at these 2 as they put the hammer down. They are breaking clear of Jared and Alex. The 2 out in front, certainly looking class at the moment. We've still got 2.5 laps to go, and they're into McKissick at the moment. It's still Carl Hooper ahead of SJ Cavell. Jared Horn and Alex Butson 3rd and 4th, looking really good at the moment. They've definitely got a massive advantage. 24 seconds back to 5th place. It's Chris Burt ahead of Vaughan Main, but that's a pretty good battle on track as well. And then we go Josh Double ahead of Angus Boyd and Nick Southerwood. So 9 runners out on track, and we're getting out of the business end of this one. Still certainly can't pick a winner in our King Street Motors Pro Twin 10-lap race.
All right, this man, Carl Hooper, remembering every race he's finished, he's won. It's just the fact that there's been 2 races that he hasn't finished. So that's why he's well back in the points, and he'll be trying to make his significant impact. He's also got the bonus point for being a top qualifier at the event, so he sits on 51 points, and that's in fact out of a total of 102 points, so he's exactly halfway of what he could be, but he's back to his lead again. Now, if you look at Jared Horn's performance, you can graph it. It's almost like the likes or dislikes for a political party in the polls that they take throughout the year, because you got them up and down. So Jared, he's been as low as 4th and as high as 1st, and he's obviously at every other point in between that, on the way up or the way down, because from the way down at 4th place, he made his way to number 1. He's gone back to a 3rd as well, so there's been very few times that he's repeated the same placing in that group for each of the laps. Super exciting to watch as the lead changes. The conditions are changing totally in this one. You can really start to see a good dry line starting to open up in the middle of the circuit. You look down there, all the guys certainly playing follow the leader and getting the best out of their tyres and the traction available, because they're splashing the water to the side and giving that dry line, or drier line up through the middle. Certainly not the great seal to show through yet, but it is certainly much less water on it. Here we are, ready to come around with a white flag, and there's 1 lap to go from this point, and here we are with the big bike battles going on there. Carl Hooper out in front, the margin there now at the moment down to 0.555, so fraction over half a second over SJ Cavell with Jared Horn, and then go back to Alex Butson. The 4 of them, it is the margin from 1st to 4th, 4.7 seconds, so pretty tight in there. It's Chris Burt and Vaughan Main that have dropped well back, so too have some of the others. Remembering 3 of them didn't start, which we presume will be down to the wet conditions, and maybe didn't have the wheel options or the tyre options to put on those wheels in a very short amount of time from when the sun was shining to when it was a downpour of rain. But now the conditions improving. Hopefully those guys are back for more of the racing later on. But all on Brad, will there be a change for those top positions?
SJ is right on the back. He was quicker than anyone last time around at 1:14.3, so they're into the 1:14s. It was less than half a second when they crossed the line. Now looking at this one here, stalking him around the McKissick curve, decreasing radius left-hander, gets a good drive in the right-hander. Needs to be into the hairpin, you would think, if he wants to make a move. He's not quite there, but there's back markers as well. Plenty to look at here. The 28 just leads ahead of the 41. It's Carl Hooper ahead of SJ Cavell, but gets out of the left-hander pretty good. Bus stop still to come, and it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a change. It's going to be the 28, so Carl Hooper's going to get a 25-pointer, takes the win in the wet. SJ Cavell's going to go just about there. Has to settle for second. We go back to 3rd place is going to be Jared Horn, and he carries on his flawless podium record. Alex Butson, he chased hard and has to settle for 4th place, but certainly as far as West Auckland bragging rights are concerned, he's led that one there with another 4th place. We've got Chris Burt and Vaughan Main. These guys have been going at it for a couple of laps now as well, so there's nothing in that gap with Josh Double, Angus Boyd, and Nick Southerwood. The 9 runners out on track, but track certainly drying. Starting to get excited. We've got a 15-lap superbike race coming up next. Is there anyone brave enough to go on slick tyres? There's definitely a dry line emerging, but there's surface water around the track in 15 laps time. Are these wets going to last 15 laps on a superbike? This is certainly action-packed stuff here at round 2 levels. We're going to check out this one here. Neil's going to go and do our King Street Motors Timaru podium. It's going to be Carl Hooper wins ahead of SJ Cavell, and Jared Horn picks up 3rd place. But SJ, fastest lap of the race, a 1:14.1, so track definitely drying out at the end of that one there.
And what we might do, Brad, is just have a wander around onto the W grid and check some tyres while we're down there as well and see what these superbikes are going to line up with. That could be drama.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from our Pro Twin lineup. The first race of the day, not easy getting out there on a wet track, and they've all done a wonderful job. So this one now in the books, everyone's crossed the line, and it is a win to Carl Hooper, SJ Cavell and Jared Horn, your podium. Alex Butson gets 4th place with Chris Burt, Vaughan Main, Josh Double, and Angus Boyd, your top 8. Nick Southerwood finishes in 9th place, and non-starters for Christy Fiore, Al Ware, and Sam Davison. That is your 12 runners in the Pro Twin, 9 of them out on track, and it's going to feel pretty good for that young man from Taupo on the Murder Cranes Kai IP racing machine. He's had some bad luck so far in this championship, but there it is, carries on his winning way. He's on the number 28. He'll be stoked. And we're going to cross down to Neil, who will have our podium.
Oh, look at all the applause and credits going on down here for this lineup. Fantastic to see. First of all, the Suzuki Pro Twin motorcycles dominating the landscape. So these guys on similar machinery, just here having a quick look at tyre choices, all of them with the chunky wets on, so there was no reason why they were going to be any point of difference. I wondered if Jared, in fact, had made a different tyre choice the way he went up and went down in there, but no. Interesting just to get a feel of those back tyres at the moment, how much heat they've got them. Not too bad, actually, not too bad. Just to do a sneak and just walk down there, put my hand on a back tyre. If you've got a wet tyre and the track has dried out too much, I tell you what, you could fry an egg on them normally, so that warmth quite reasonable. So as it turned out, the right choice of tyre made by those guys to be wet. Will it be the right choice of tyre coming up? Well, we'll be about to find out from our superbikes. Man, I'd be an anxious superbike rider to know whether it was the best tyre choice or not. So here we are, our first podium. The sun is shining, folks, and we've had the shower of rain. We've got beautiful blue sky around us. We know we're in for a great day. Every forecaster has told us that. Said there might be the chance of an odd shower, but it was certainly a heavy one to start the day. Jared, the choice of tyre, inevitable for a wet, but was it sort of on the edge a little bit there earlier on?
Yeah, before the race, I was sort of considering whether to use the tyre that I had on, which is more of an intermediate, so it's sort of chewed up a bit, or go for a brand new one, but I'm glad I went with that because I think I probably would have wrecked a new one. But yeah, no, it was a bit hairy out there. Had a couple of little slides in the rear and sort of scared me a bit. I knew Butson was behind me, so I was just trying to keep it in line and yeah, bring it home.
What did you feel like this morning when to know at the point after 4 races that you're actually the leader of this field? It was incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal sort of feeling, but yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I do and bring it home, you know. You can't get points if you're sitting on the gravel trap.
That man knows that to finish first, you've got to finish. No cliche. Here's SJ. Look at him. He's just standing back here. He's got his Bridgestone cap on. He's cool, calm and collected. To start with, SJ, man, that performances were up and down. You were there, then you were back, then you got back, and you nearly got back right at the end.
Yeah, it was a funny old track that, going out without having sighted it really, and just had to try and get into a bit of a groove and sort of, I knew they'd come, so I'd let it unfold, and I thought, well, I actually didn't really want to set the pace, so I let someone else set it, and then credit to Carly, did a really good job, and I didn't have an answer at the end, so good on him.
Well done, beautiful answer, nice to see. Hey, well done, Carl. Every race you've finished, you've come in first place, so you'll be pegging back those points at the moment, but that one wasn't too easy.
No, that one was really hard, Neil. At the start, you know, it was good to just get into a bit of a rhythm, find out where the grip was, and then Jared came flying past us both, and I thought, oh, he's going to go, so I made the move on SJ and then managed to catch up to Jared, and I was able to get in quite a good groove, but the track was so hard to read because of, you know, every lap it was drier, so but I just need to say huge shout out to SJ. You know, me and him had a huge job getting our bikes ready for today, so for us to be riding is pretty good, so huge shout out to SJ for getting his bike done, and Jared, you know, picked up that win yesterday while we were sitting on the air fence, and good on him, so He's the new enemy.
He's the new enemy. Hey, I like that. 3 fantastic supporters. Here we go. This is what our supporters all about, and great to have. Nice respect from Carl shown to SJ, because yes, indeed, the two of them crashing out in our last race yesterday, so they've had some big work to do overnight to get their bikes ready to go back on the racetrack. Bring it on, 2021 NZSBK with Sky Sport Next, along with Aon Insurance, and we love them proudly. Power is nothing without control. See you soon.